Hey guys, Chad Hoover, Kayak Bass Fishing, and welcome to another subscriber question video where I'm answering a question from my community tab. All right, so on this community tab question, I got a great response from Big Red Bass. Now this is something that I probably should have talked about a long time ago, but it's one of those things you never think about, and that's why these interactions on this community tab are great. So Big Red Bass said, tips on kayak fishing etiquette, how not to be that guy on the water. Man, you know what's crazy is we have a beautiful sport. We have an unbelievable brotherhood. We have a really respectful community. As we grow and as we attract more anglers and as our percentage of the fishing community gets larger, we're always going to have a higher propensity of having that guy in our sport. So it's good to have this conversation. So kayak fishing etiquette is really no different than fishing etiquette. But I will tell you this, one thing about kayak fishing is because kayaks are so stealthy, because they're so quiet, and because we are so social in a community that is like a brotherhood more than it is like just a segment of the sport, there is a tendency for some anglers to expect that that extends to tournament fishing, for example, that extends to a day on the water. Let me explain that. Because we're so social, right? Because we have such a brotherhood and because we share so much information, I think a lot of times guys feel like it's also share the water, which means if this guy's fishing that cove, I'll just paddle up in there and fish right in front of him and hey, we're all buddies and we're family and we're friends. And that is a true statement for the most part, but there is a certain amount of tact that you have to exercise, especially if you're fishing a tournament. If this guy has scouted, if he has put in the time, if he's pre-fished, and he gets to a spot, and it doesn't matter if you've also fished that spot, if it's your go-to spot. If you get to a spot and a person is there, I like to use the rule of 1/3, okay? I like to say, give that person 1/3 of where they're at, and divide that section up, but then I like to have a dialogue, okay? I personally will paddle up to an angler, let's say he's in a cove, okay? And let's say that this cove is 300 yards long. I'm just gonna do a conversation with you. Hey buddy, hey listen man, I fished this cove in practice and what I started off is out here on the outside, and then as the day goes on, I move up to that hump in the middle, and then I kind of fish the back of the cove towards the end of the day. I don't really wanna get in your way. You obviously got to the spot first. You know, do you feel like we can work together, or would you prefer that I go somewhere else? 9 times out of 10, by doing that alone, the angler is going to go, no, man, listen, I'm going to fish right here probably most of the day, and then I'm going to move to the back of the creek, take that middle section, and, I'm going to fish right here for right now, so if you'll give me some space, that's cool. And then you can maybe reevaluate your plan. If you don't have a backup and a backup to the backup, you're probably doing it wrong when it comes to tournament fishing anyway. So that's kind of an extreme scenario when it comes to etiquette. But there are other things about kayak fishing etiquette that I really want to talk about. And I am so glad that Big Red Bass asked this question. I'll tell you the number one thing that we all do as kayak anglers that frustrates the rest of the industry, and it gives us a bad name. And that's the guy that'll pull up on the boat ramp, drop his tailgate down, slide his kayak out on the ground, and then start going back and forth to the truck, getting all of the rigging pieces, getting the rod holders, grabbing his black pack, going and getting his PFD, installing rod holders, doing this, doing that, and literally doing it all on the boat ramp, okay? So there's 2 ways to do this. First, get your gear ready in the parking lot and then back down, drop your kayak and go. Or do what I do and just get it ready in the parking lot and then just drag it to the water. The one thing to avoid is this community thing that a lot of us have a tendency to do. I have pulled up to boat ramps before during one of our tournaments, and there was 3 wide parked across the boat ramp of kayak anglers, all got their kayaks unloaded, and they've all sitting there doing a community unload, unloading their stuff, getting their gear put on the kayak, and then there's a line of boats at the boat ramp going, man, I've even seen guys get out of their truck and walk back and talk to another angler, shaking their head at kayak fishermen who are blocking the ramp. So the number one thing that you can do to kind of be that guy in kayak fishing is unload your kayak on the boat ramp and sit there and get it ready on the boat ramp. get your gear together, get it on your kayak. Matter of fact, you can just stack it all in your kayak, go down there, unload it, go park your truck, and then come back and set everything up, right? That's one way to do it. And I think that by and large, a lot of times we're the earliest ones to the ramp, so we get there, we think we got it to ourselves, so we don't care about it. We just go ahead and start unloading, and then when the boat starts showing up, you're that guy. So to not be that guy, that's the number one thing. The number two thing is what I call cutoff anglers, okay? Anglers that see you working down a shoreline, okay? So you're either paddling down or you're pedaling down or you're obviously fishing a particular line, okay? And you're obviously, you've got a methodology to what you're fishing. I don't think it's ever okay to basically cut out ahead of someone, to basically paddle up and cut off an angler's approach. Now, it's perfectly fine to fall in behind them. Again, I like to make that, hey man, is it okay if I fish behind you here? You know, where you're gonna be looping on this, you know, shoreline, whatever, and we work it out. But it's never okay to just, oh my gosh, I gotta beat that guy to my spot and just zip over there and beeline to him. That is something that has become a little bit more of a problem with pedal drives and motorized kayaks because it gives anglers the ability to be on one shoreline and look over at their spot and the guy moves in and they go, oh my gosh, I gotta beat him to my spot, and zip over there. So that's probably the number one, number two pet peeve or thing that I would say you should avoid so that you're not that guy. The other thing that I think is probably, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, okay? But it's spot burning. In kayak fishing, we're a very social community. And I see a lot of folks doing things to help other anglers, okay? And then 3 weeks later, that angler's posting the fish that they caught with a drop pin, with a location. Now, a lot of people are gonna say, this is why I think I'm gonna get some flack for it. A lot of people are gonna say, oh man, that's just how the community is, and if somebody doesn't want you to give up their spot, they shouldn't tell you. Well, the problem with that approach is then nobody will ever show anybody any spots, and there's no kind of understood gentleman's agreement that you're not going to burn the spot. So, by and large, if I'm gonna show somebody a spot that I don't want them to tell anybody about, I'll tell them in advance. So if you're on the other side of this, I would recommend that if you don't want somebody to share your spot with anybody, you let them know that as a condition of showing them the spot in the beginning. Hey man, listen, I never film here. I don't do any TV shows about it. This is one of my favorite spots to go to. I'll take you there, but it's gotta stay that way. We good? Absolutely. So as long as there's an understanding up front, 9 times out of 10, nobody's going to break that confidence. But spot burning is a big one, okay? Spot burning is a real quick way after somebody has showed some faith in you, they have entrusted you with their secret spot or one of their top productive spots, that you turn around and share it with 15 other people. You turn around and post it on social media. And that's probably, you know, one of the things that creates more rifts and butt hurt and belly aching amongst kayak anglers within the community, probably more so than anything else. And I'll tell you this, here's another one, and this is my last one, and then we're gonna jump off of here. This is one that I never thought about, and this is one that I couldn't believe actually happened. We had someone at a tournament park at a boat ramp and get their drone out. And then they flew their drone around until they found kayak anglers, because kayak anglers are really easy to see on the drone. So the anglers that were fishing saw the drone flying around. The drone actually came down pretty low, and then 15 minutes later, the angler who owned that drone showed up to their cove. So listen, I understand that that's a very savvy use of technological advantages, but drone spotting and going out there and then jumping in behind somebody after you found their spot is not cool. It's dirty boxing. It doesn't make any sense, and it's something that you probably should avoid at all costs. Okay? I think that it's a really good way to get a bad reputation in the industry. It's a really good way to get, you know, anglers that don't want to interact and relate to you. And I think you're probably going to lose more than you gain by utilizing that practice. I'm all for using drones to scout. I'm all for using drones to check a spot before I paddle there. It's actually a technique and a tactic that I'm employing now. A lot of times I use the drone to go find clean water. If there's mud, I use it to find mud lines. You know, it's definitely something that I utilize. But if I utilize it and I see another kayak angler, I'm going to respect the fact that that kayak angler is there. And instead of using it to find an angler and knowing where to go, I'm going to use it to find an angler and know where not to go. So anyway, that's my take on kayak fishing etiquette. But I'm going to challenge you guys to comment in the comment section below, because I'm sure I missed something. What is it that you don't think anglers should do, or what is it that they do that makes them that guy or that gal? Y'all comment below, and heck, if there's enough good comments about it, I'll do a follow-up, Kayak Fishing Etiquette 2, where I talk about some of the stuff that you guys brought up. And look, if there is a best etiquette thing that I missed, and you're the one that I choose to do that follow-up video for, I'll send you a free KBF membership. All right, guys, I love y'all. See you next time, and get out there, catch some fish, and have a good time. Teach somebody else about the wonderful sport of fishing, and yeah, it'll enrich your world.
Get out.
What are you doing?
Listen, all the things that he said's right, but to make it simple, just do the golden rule. Treat everybody how you want to be treated. If you don't want a fisherman treating you like that, then don't treat another fisherman like that. It's pretty simple.
Hey, listen, it's not just the golden rule. It's actually scripture, all right? And we'll link that up in the description box. It's simple. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It depends on what version you're looking at, but we'll look it up in the U version.
Pretty much
we'll look it up in the U version Bible. We'll post the link in the description below.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks, baby. Sometimes it's better to just keep it simple.